What's going on, everyone? It's Kyle from the Boat Breakers, and we have an awesome video for you today. We're going to be going over all of the great things and some of the not so great things on the Carnival Liberty. A general overview of the Carnival Liberty is it's based out of Port Canaveral, Florida, which is about 30 to 45 minutes south of Orlando. It holds a little under 3,000 passengers at 2,974 passengers and a little over 1,100 crew members. So this is a decent sized boat. It does have a little bit more of an intimate feel to it, and it is a little bit older. It was launched in 2005. Some people like to hear the pros first, but I personally just want to get all the bad things off my chest, and then we'll just be some smooth sailing from then on out. Get it? Cruise ship sailing, you know? So the first thing, the Liberty only does 3 and 4 night sailings, which are typically known as booze cruises. And these are because they're cheap and affordable, so it does tend to draw the partier crowd who want just a quick, cheap getaway. And that, if that's what you're looking for, you know your people there. Everyone's super outgoing and friendly, but just know they are going to do some serious damage on their drink package. And if that's not your type of crowd, you're probably not going to enjoy the Liberty too much. Another thing about the Liberty that I personally wasn't a huge fan of were the stops, the ports of call. So we went to Nassau, Bahamas, which I really didn't have a problem with. We have a whole vlog on our Nassau journey. We did an all-inclusive and it was fantastic. My real problem though was the Carnival private island of Princess Cay. So I didn't enjoy it at all. We spoke about this in a vlog, but I'll just do a quick touch on just in case you haven't seen that video. So in order to get to Princess Cay, you have to take a tender, which they assign tender numbers at Guest Services. We did not get that communication, and we went there a little bit later in the morning, and they had ran out of tender passes, and there was some really tough miscommunications, and they said they were going to print out more tender passes, and they ended up just never doing that. So we were kind of sitting around for an hour just waiting to figure out what was going on. Eventually, they just said all passengers can go on shore now, which we could have spent that hour at a bar or getting more food, because when we got there, they ran out of food. We went there, like I said, a little bit later in the morning, and we didn't end up eating till in the afternoon. But it's still just kind of common sense. Assume if there's 3,000 people on board, assume 90% get off at the ports. You know, just have enough food for that amount of people and it should be smooth sailing. But they ran out of hamburgers, they ran out of hot dogs, they ran out of chicken, they ran out of pretty much everything. There was just some nachos left by the time we went. So that was a huge pain point because you pay all that money to go on the island and you don't even get food. And to make matters worse, I mean, it's really long lines to get back on the ship. So even if you went back aboard, you had to wait in this gigantic line to get from the tender back onto the ship. So you weren't getting food for at least 45 minutes after all said and done. Another thing that I noticed just walking throughout the ship is the ship smelled like sewage, kind of. I wasn't the only person to think that. A few passengers talk in passing. They were just like, near my stateroom, it smells kind of bad. You get to talking to people out at the restaurants and the bars, and everyone had something to complain. It seemed like it was the lower decks that had that issue, but still, it's kind of inexcusable. I get that the ship's 17 years old, but maybe, you know, tighten up some plumbing and continue to give the guests an overall positive experience. But that was just, you know, you walk by, you get a brief smell, go into the buffet, maybe your appetite gets, you know, a little suppressed. I mean, whose appetite really gets suppressed? It's vacation, you're still going to the buffet and you're eating 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, seriously, nothing's stopping me from eating on a cruise. So another con per se that could be worth noting is the Carnival Liberty was last refurbished in 2011, and even then it didn't get all the fun ship upgrades. So there is a very limited amount of dining options. So I know some people like to go, they want to get hibachi, they want to go to Cucina del Capitano, you want to go get your Italian food. Unfortunately, that's not even a possibility here, even if you wanted to pay extra. The only restaurant you have to pay for is the steakhouse, which is nice because a lot of dining options are included. But if you want to spring for that extra quality of a meal, it's just not even an option on the Carnival Liberty. However, the steakhouse is very good from what I was told. I personally did not do it on our trip, but the steakhouse I have done before with Carnival, and they are always very good. But over to the pros now, because while we're on the topic of food, I mean, honestly, the buffet is solid. you have a lot of eateries that are included. So this has a Mongolian wok that you can get custom noodle dishes and rice dishes, which not many other ships have that, so I think that's awesome. They have a deli, so you can grab a quick bite. Hot sandwiches, cold sandwiches. They have parm fries that are also included. They have cookies, which are really good, so I highly recommend checking out the cookies. They have the typical fun ship upgrades, so they do have Guy's Burgers. Obviously, that's a Carnival staple. They do have Blue Iguana, so if you want a burrito for either breakfast or lunch, solid options as well. Nice to not have to pay for upgrades to be able to go to a nice restaurant or go to a restaurant. I mean, the food on the Carnival Liberty is good. It is the 50th Carnival anniversary, so they do have some incredible dishes that you can just get throughout the course of this year. I highly, 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 highly recommend the jerk pork. It is on the last night when I was sailing a 4-day cruise. It is absolutely to die for. And on other Carnival ships, they do have bonsai sushi. However, on this one, it is just in the buffet. It's a very small section. You could walk right past it and not even know. It is just a little window. It's the exact opposite side of the Carnival deli. So if you're looking to have a little bit of a more premium lunch option, that is the only other paid option that I can really think of other than the chef's table. Another pro with the Carnival is just the staff in general. I know every cruise line is experiencing staff shortages, and because the Carnival Liberty isn't a gigantic XL class ship or even a Royal Caribbean or the new Norwegian ships, it's smaller and more intimate, so you are able to have the staff kind of take care of you. They know your drink orders. They know what you want for an appetizer. If you get your pre-selected apps pretty much during the main dining room, you wouldn't know that there was a staff shortage. They were very attentive. The room stewards always made sure the room was clean. They would greet you when you were walking the hallways. It felt like there was always people around to take care of you or even just talk to you from the Carnival staff. So for that, I really appreciate it. And because the ship is so intimate, it is really easy to navigate. I mean, pretty much everything's on the Lido deck or from decks 3 to 6, where the main atrium overlooks. That's where all the shops are. That's where most of the bars are. It's where the casino is, where the dance club is. So you're pretty much never going to be tired from walking around. I know some people who talk about ships that are 4, 5, 6 city blocks long and then 18, 19 stories high, and they can't even get an elevator, so they're just winded from walking around the ship. This is not an issue on the Liberty. It is a easy, simple ship to navigate, which has some pretty decor to look at. It is a little bit dated. I mean, again, the ship is 17 years old, but it has kind of like a Venetian feel with all the metal railings and stuff in the main atrium. So I do like the way it looks. It's not terribly outdated, but you can tell it's not that modern look that every other cruise line's going for right now, including Carnival with the XL SAS ships. So overall thoughts on the Carnival Liberty, I think it's a great value. Like I said, 4-night cruises are under $200, which is pretty much in a lot of people's budgets. That being said, because it's in a lot of people's budgets, you'll get the college kids or the unruly crowd that typically wouldn't be able to do the longer cruises just because they can't get off of work or they're going back to school. So you do need to be a little cognizant of what your crowd's going to be. But that being said, I had a great time on the Liberty because everyone was so outgoing, everyone was so fun. They were putting some serious work in on their drink packages, doing some damage to the bars, but that was awesome because everyone was super friendly. We didn't have any fights on board, which is becoming a thing. I don't understand. Everyone should be on vacation, take a chill pill, relax, zen out, but you know, can't make everybody happy. I've noticed the Carnival entertainment shift over the last year or so since COVID. They've kind of switched from activity-driven things to do around to more so we have more attractions. You should be able to ride this roller coaster, do the ropes course, play some basketball. The Liberty doesn't really have all of those new attractions, so you're kind of limited to the water slide. It's one singular water slide. It did not get the fun ship upgrade with the water park. So there's not a crazy amount to do, so you do rely on the entertainment staff. Again, the entertainment staff was present, but because it's still the pandemic era of cruising, they don't have all of their things. I know Carnival just did away with the Hairy Man contest. That's no longer going to continue. So they're getting rid of some activities that are fan favorites. And on older ships, it's a little bit harder to make up for those because they don't have the draw to be able to go to a movie theater or hang out in a really cool area because they're just limited to the mini golf course, the water slides. Not a crazy amount to do, but if you're with good people And I'm telling you, Carnival's clientele are always pretty friendly people. You will find your way, you will have a good time regardless. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found anything here useful, or if there's a pro or con I didn't get to, please let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. And hopefully other people can learn something from you guys as well. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Peace.